What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Weekly DoseOfDano TV, giving you the best content that you're gonna find on the internet with my main man here, Rico No Suave. You've seen him, you love him. Rico, what do you have to say to everybody before we get started today?
Welcome back to the dose. It's the weekly dose of Dano. Hey, man, you know what? I'm back. I'm happy to be back, man. I'm happy to be back with you, man. And it's such a good vibe just to be back, man. A lot of things has been going on, but hey, thank you for having me once again on the show, man. And let's rock it. Let's do it.
Let's rock it. Let's do it is right. We are so happy to have you back. I know the Positivity Posse is thrilled because every time you come on, you already know it's just high energy, positivity, and we learn a lot from you every single time. So thank you for coming back on. And to my Positivity Posse, I'm just very excited to be here with you. Please light it up in the comments that you do every week. Here's Lou already going with the let's go. Let's go is right. Super excited. And let's get started with today's episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV. Thank you so much for watching live or on the replay. We appreciate you. Let's get right into it. Let's go. Thank you again for being here. And we're going to switch it up today and do things a little bit different because Rico has so much excitement and positive energy that he said, no, we can't. I got to come on right away because we got a lot that we need to talk about in such a short amount of time. And he can't hold this excitement. And what do you say, Rico? True or not true?
True.
Let's get it.
It's true. Never false. Never false, Papa. Never false.
I love it. I love it. Thank you again for being here. And let's get right into it because we have a lot to cover, like I said, in such a short amount of time. So, Rico, there has been so much that has happened in your life and my life since the last time we've met. I know I was looking at the dates. It was, I believe, April 23rd of 2023 last year, if I remember correctly, that you came on. So that's been about a year and a half and some change like that. So tell us, man, what's been going on in your neck of the woods?
Hey, all I gotta say is let me get my hands because my hands is on fire right now. It feels like everything that I'm touching right now, we just hype it up and we make things better. To the posse, you want to give a big shout out to your posse, man. I love how you guys give the goodbye. Ya tu sabes, man, mi gente. Always keeping that good vibe going. I love that you guys keep it going and keeping it strong. So, pero tú sabes, man, let's get it on. My hands, man, I have to tell you, when I put my hands together like this and I look up to the sky, there's always some blessings that's always coming down. And I always have to give it to the man upstairs. Tú sabes, man. I have to say one of the biggest things about what's been happening from when I talked to you last versus to what's happening now. So I went through a few things with NASCAR and a lot of things as far as with NASCAR that I actually learned a lot with. And I do want to give a big shout out to them because they allowed me to come in there to be able to meet some great people and people wanted me to come back, but they kind of changed their rules. But I was able to get in there and actually, do some things with me acting as that talk show host, meeting great people, but also being on that track with winners and people, Michael Jordan, Tiffany Haddish, those guys that was actually on, this is in Las Vegas, Tiffany Haddish, Nick Cannon, all of those guys, when they were actually there, I was able to see those guys, and I wasn't able to interview them, of course, but it was good to actually just be there. And
they were able to see you, by the way. They were they were able to see you. Let's get it right.
Hey, I have to tell you, man, I had such a great feeling when I made my presence there and in Vegas, but also in Chicago también. But I'm like, yo, even though I was here in Chicago and had that great stands, you know, I was able to get accepted into Las Vegas. But when I got to Las Vegas, it was, man, it was amazing, man. Big shout out to G Soldier. He came down there with me as well too. You know who that is. And
Oh
it
yeah.
was so awesome for us to be able to go down there, experience that, you know, last year. So once again, it was like just an amazing. I still keep in contact with some of the people that actually works for NASCAR, and always giving a good vibe to me and watching what I'm doing. So, you know, but I didn't get accepted this year. I didn't get accepted as far as to NASCAR for the street race this year. They're changing their ways in regards to who they bring in. But, you know, I'm opposed to that. Of course, when you actually have that, you know, you bring in that shining light and you want to actually do something big as far as with them. You were just hoping that, you know, they're trying to stay with ESPN. They're trying to stay with the big networks as well, too. But this year didn't turn out the way they thought it was going to actually be in Chicago. And, you know, I felt that my presence should have been there. I felt like my presence should have been there. I was like, what else can I contribute to be able to help you guys here in Chicago? What can we do to make this even bigger? So big shout out to NASCAR on that. So that was a really great milestone as far as from the last time that we talked as well. And, you know, the talk show has been going really well, man, really well. So I'm happy about this.
Yeah, of course. You got some big name guests going on, which I check in from time to time. I know I can't catch every episode, but it's been amazing just to see you grow from where you started and even from where we were, you know, last time that we talked. It's been amazing to see your journey. So keep going strong. And, you know, it's just something, sometimes things don't happen the way that we would prefer them to, but that's because bigger doors, as you already know, are opening up for us and have opened up for us. So all we have to do is just keep doing what we have been doing and see the fruits of our labor just, you know, unfold right in front of us as well. And we have Jeanette here that says, Ya tu sabe, you already know.
Jeanette, ¿cómo estamos?
Yeah. Yes, we are so back. And I know, you know, with all the things that you've done, all the good and the bad, you have learned a lot of lessons. So let's get right into that. What has been the biggest lesson that you have learned, either good or bad, even though we know there's no such thing as bad, right? Because if it's leading us to our positive selves and if it's guiding us on the right direction, then it can never be bad. But, you know, just so to speak, good or the biggest or worst lesson that you've learned since we have come together, since our last time that we've spoken?
You know, I think the biggest things with, you know, being able to get celebrities on your show and for some people to be able to say no because of they think that your following is not big enough for them is kind of a sad part, right? I don't think they're doing it. I think that's just the way that they're used to as far as in the industry, you know. And one of the things is that it's only for not right now, but until it's time for me to, you know, ask you again, would you like to be on the show now that I'm a little bit bigger now and I have more followers? Are you ready for it now? And then I want to give them something that they missed, that they knew that they should have came on at the very beginning, than actually saying, hey, you know, giving a chance. So, you know, the lesson is that, yeah, you know what? It's just not right now. You know, that's okay. It's not right now. But hey, when we get there further, we will get there and make it happen, you know. But I had a few celebrities that I have to say that I would love to have been on the actual show, but they just couldn't make it, or they didn't want to do it at that time. So, and I give it, you know, not just yet, but we'll talk later. So it's always a lesson learned to be able to fill that out. And they were very nice. It wasn't like they were mean. It was just, you know, we had to go through either an agent or I had to go through someone's wife, you know, and say, hey, you know, I want to come on the show. But at least they looked at the show. That's a blessing. They looked at the show, and yeah, it's good. Good.
Yeah, man. And I don't know if I think I said this on your show before, but you know, the first person that I ever reached out to, they actually said the same thing that you were going through. They looked at my stuff and they said, oh, you're not big enough. Like, you're not even a real show. And this is the first person that I ever reached out to. So obviously, if this is for you, for anybody else that's watching, wherever you are on your journey, that's all right. when these things start to happen, because
That's
number
right.
one, it'll give you more fuel in order to go to the place that you want to go, and just
Yes,
to
sir.
actually driving that motivation. But
Yes,
number
sir.
two, you're like, all right, well, now I see what I need to do. This is where I can improve. Maybe it's with the letter reaching out to the people, or maybe it's the way that, we structure the letter, whatever it is. There's always a lesson learned from that, Rico, so much. So thank you for sharing that. But,
No problem.
you brought that up, and it's just so true how, they're very selective with it, whether it's NASCAR or the celebrities. They're very selective on who they allow into their programs, right? Because nowadays anybody and everybody in the media industry is so saturated. But obviously, we don't focus on everybody else, we focus on ourselves. But how do you fight through that, or how have been able to navigate your way through this media industry?
I how can I say this? Because I don't call my talk show a podcast, because I'm going more towards TV. I'm
Hmm.
going more towards like that Jimmy Fallon, Jay Leno, Dick
Hmm.
Clark. I'm going towards that Arsenio Hall. I'm going towards TV because of the time, and we kind of talked about this before, because of the saturation of everybody wants to have a podcast on YouTube. It becomes more saturated for you to be able to help to build your audience, but you have to do something really big in order for them to come and watch you on YouTube. I also start realizing that not everyone needs to be on YouTube. Some people just do it just to see if they're going to be able to make it. I look at this industry as you have to have the characteristics, but you also have to have the people that's unique towards you. Meaning that if they like your vibe, if they understand your vibe, and then they want to rock with you that way, and you give them something to come back to, then that is definitely good. Um, I'm the type of person in this industry, and I'm thinking at the same time too, because there's so many words when it comes to, and you notice that there's so many podcasts that's out there that talks about relationships. There's a lot of things that's out there when it comes to relationships. There's a lot where it comes to different sports. Now, sports is a kind of a different animal,
Hmm.
but everyday living, you're starting to see a lot of things actually happen where podcasters are coming out talking about relationships and talking about how the world is in regards to connecting with people and things like that. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, this network is so saturated. And I'm like, yeah, I don't even want to be a part of that. I don't want to put myself in that place. I need to be that host. I need to be that talk show host. And I need to be that host where I'm bringing in people to give that good vibe like you're doing with the posse, and make it happen, But the media industry, I think, is just oversaturated, with people that want to start something and say, hey, look at me. And then also you got some that do come out with some great content, but you're basically being that cookie cutter, when it comes down to, I want to be like him, or I want to be like
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
So, and you got to be yourself. You got to be unique, and you got to bring in the guest. You got to bring in the guest to be able to, say, man, I had such a great experience on the show. Let's move forward.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what the interesting about what you said too is most specifically for the relationship podcasts and the stuff like that, it's so interesting what you see on social media and
Yeah.
how they drive people, because they always do or say the thing that is the most outrageous, that is going to get the most clicks, that is
Yeah.
going to drive the most engagement in the negative way. And it's pretty
Yeah.
sad, because the people that watch that, whether it's your target audience or people that are not in your target audience, they
Sure.
see that, and that's what they adopt the world to be, and that they take on that negative view of the world, so that
Yeah.
when they go out there, they are just so distraught and they're so negative and sad, because they think that it's over, and they think that everybody else thinks that way. So when it
Yeah.
comes to my show and your show, I really love the fact that we go out there and we provide content that has purpose,
Yes.
meaning, and message as well. One
Yes.
quick thing too, I was watching the other day. It was very, very bizarre. Very bizarre. It wasn't anything in the talk show or podcast realm, but when it comes to content, there was this young black guy, I guess it was in Chicago, and this young white girl. So this was the script. This was basically how this piece of content went. All right, can I see your ass? The girl turns around, shows her ass. And I'm not dumbing this down. I'm not oversimplifying this. This is what happened. She turns around, shows her ass. Can I touch it? Sure. The girl says, sure. So he touches it. Then he's like, oh, on a scale from 1 to 10, how hot do you think I am? He goes, I don't know, 8 or 10 or something like that. All right. What's the chances that you come home with me tonight and we F? Let's go right now. And then they go. And I'm sitting here thinking, you have such positive news sites, not even news, just entertainment sites such as Me and You, and you see this stuff, and this thing has like 2 million views. And it's like, well, you know, our stuff that we're doing, we're promoting positivity. Why? What do we need to do in order to get that up there? So just keep going is the best thing that I can say. What is your advice for us, you know, or somebody that's out there that's like us to keep going?
Yeah. So this month, thank God, gracias, 6 years in the making, right? 6 years on my show.
Congratulations,
right?
Man.
Thank you. The one thing is you have to keep the laughter going. You have to keep the positive vibe of talking to people going. The people that's in the business to be able to make money, but also to be able to help you grow, are going to be the people that's going to that's going to help you get connected with bigger people. Meaning that those bigger people, and people, of course, now keep this in mind, the people that's actually doing this because they're getting 2.4 or whatever million views that they're actually getting because they're doing something raunchy, you know, of course, that's not me. I'm a classy man, you know, and when it comes to someone being classy, you're going to find those people that want to invest in you. Those people that's doing that, there's nobody that's going to want to invest in them. So that's why they're doing that. They're doing that because they want to actually get going just to get the views. Like they say, people, they want to get the views, let them get the views. But we have to get the views. Even might take a while for us to get those views, but once we get them and we start getting them in a positive way, that's what we're talking about. You know, and I think, you know, I think for myself, you know, I don't think I'll ever stop doing what I'm doing because Jimmy Fallon's getting a lot. Trevor Noah was getting a lot, you know, Jay Leno, those guys, David Letterman, all of those guys, man, all of those guys was getting, you know, they were getting up to a certain point where they actually got introduced to someone to be able to make it even bigger. They saw their talent. They saw what they can actually do. They stuck with the craft, and it only takes that one person to give you that open door, that audition. Once you get on TV, you don't need to be dealing with all of that red pill and all of that stuff that's actually on, you know, people trying. And it's the young ones that's crazy. And we call it the young Gen Z is cooked because they don't know. They don't know what real relationships is. They don't understand what it takes to, and it's all about clicks. This has never been about clicks. It's all about how many viewers that you should have in a positive way. You know, so for me, you know, I'm not down with that, you know, and I'm just going to continue to make connections with, you know, celebrities, good connection as far as with local people that's doing some great things, and we're going to build that village all day. So
100%. And you just said it so beautifully too. Just because, you know, they may be getting the views or this or that doesn't have sustainability. Number one, like you said, they could be a one-hit wonder. If that's the case, then, you know, congratulations to you. And then number two as well, it for us, I know it doesn't feed our soul, and it's not really getting us to where we want to go. So hey, all it takes is that consistency, like you said, to just keep going, and then we'll see what happens along the way. And since we know that what we're doing is, you know, positive and high vibrations, we know that we're only going to receive more of that, which is more success, which is more connections, like you said. So it's a perfect circle, right? The more that we give, the more that we receive, and the more that we receive, the even more that we can give as well. So we have to just hear a quick word from our first sponsor as well, which is Great Success. And then when we come back, I want to talk about the positive stuff that you're doing because
Yes,
Rico has recently released a well, I'm not sure if it's released yet, but it's definitely on the way
yes, sir.
for a cooking docu-series, and we want
Yes,
to
sir.
hear more about all of that. So here's a
Yes,
word
sir.
from our first sponsors, and we'll be right back with some more content. Great positive content on Weekly Dose of Dano TV.
At Grade Success, it's our job to make sure that your child succeeds in school regardless of the subject or grade level. Our tutors are trained professionals who know how to promote learning and encourage results. Whether you are looking for help with SAT, ACT prep, private and group tutoring, K through 3 reading programs for your child, or educational consulting and college counseling, here at Grade Success, we can help you find the right answer. Visit gradesuccess.com to learn more about our in-person and online program options. Grade Success, where your child's success is our business.
Boom. So we're right back with this great content on Weekly Dose of Dano TV. To my positivity posse, thank you so much for being here. If you're watching live or on the replay, and I see you if you're watching from Facebook or YouTube or anywhere else, thank you, Lou, for commenting on YouTube. But we appreciate every single one of you guys. And as I don't know if anybody knows this yet because I haven't announced it, but last month alone, we have reached about 80,000 viewers per month, which is absolutely phenomenal. So shout out to each and every one of you. Wouldn't be possible without all of you as well. And
Let's
Rico,
go.
before we get into your show, I just want to mention one more thing about the social media
Yes, sir.
world. They're just throwing your message out there is that, you know, you got to remember that when you're throwing out content or you're putting yourself out there, you
Sure.
have all different types of groups of people. You have the high class, you have the people who are not so high class, the rich, the not so rich, and all these people. So there is a lane for you out there, wherever it is that you want to carve. You are able to carve whatever road or whatever, you know, your mark in the industry. If that's what you want to do, you will be able to do it, but you just have to be consistent, especially what 6 years. That's absolutely amazing. And thank you, John T, for free. We appreciate you being on here. Thank you for that, and glad to see Rico back on, of course. Now let's shift it back over to him. So Rico, as I said before the break, I just mentioned that you have this culinary docu-series.
Yes, sir.
What's that all about, man? Let us know.
Hey, my director, John T. For Free, is actually on. So I'm glad that he's actually on to be able to hear this as well, too. And I got to give a big shout out to him as well. He is my director. And, you know, he was one of my guys, the videographers that was here. You know, it's going on 4 years now as far as on the actual show. But I want to give him a big shout out because he has done a lot of, you know, back end work, being there to say, hey, we're going to make this. We're going to make this happen. And we're going to do some great things. And he's a beast as well, too. So I want to give a big shout out to John T. Y'all show him some love. As well, too, in the chat. Appreciate that. Yeah. So we took a trip. And also Matt Baran. So it's me, John, and Matt Baran. So this is how it all started. This is how it came about. So I was interviewing on my talk show a guy named Tyrone Benoit, and he's in a band. Really cool guy, good vibe. He came on for my birthday in December, and we started talking about cooking. When we started talking about cooking, it was like a shift. He said, you know, I get down in the kitchen and you got to come on down to New Orleans and to be able to, you know, so we can cook together. So we kind of put like, you know, a little bit of script together. And we had an interesting script at the very beginning, but it didn't turn out the way we wanted it to, but we still came out with a good vibe of what we wanted it to be. So one of the things is that in putting a script together to be able to go out to a place that you've never been before and want to be able to start either cooking alongside with a chef or tasting the food of the cuisine that you're at. So we all took a trip out to New Orleans, and when we got there, we had a list of places that we wanted to actually go to. And big shout out to David Campbell, because he was kind of our tour guide as well too. He lives down there, him and his wife and kids, and he's the manager of Tyrone Benoit Band. And he knows, like when I tell you, this guy knows the architecture, he knows where the food is, he knows where to go. So he was kind of setting up some stuff as well too. And Beatrice was also helping as well too. And we made some connections. But once we got down there, I have to tell you, if you've never been down to New Orleans, the hospitality is real. Man, I'm going to tell you, the hospitality is super real. When it comes down to people saying hello to you and inviting you for dinner, or just talking in general and saying hello, it goes a long way.
What?
Kindness is one of the biggest things of people that's there in New Orleans. So we had a few places, and big shout out to this first place I'm going to talk about. The first place we went to was Neil's. Neil's is a Creole cuisine, and the whole staff was amazing. The whole staff was awesome. We sat down and we almost kind of did that, what we call it here in Chicago, called check please. And we sit down and they brought all of this food for me to be able to cook. Now, I had an option to be able to go and cook with them, but the kitchen was so crowded. They just said, we're going to just bring you food. So they brought food like gumbo, of course. They brought in, a little bit of crab claws. They brought in pasta. They brought, I think they had oysters. I couldn't eat the oysters, but they had oysters as well too. And also when I tell you about food, everybody, we're talking about good food. We're talking about where grandma is in the kitchen, abuelita, she's cooking, and all of a sudden, hey, boom, we are eating some great food. They came out with some pound cake. They came out with some bread pudding, and the bread pudding had raisins in it. Everybody started coming into the restaurant because we started off in the restaurant around 11 o'clock, and I think they kind of opened around 1 o'clock, around 1 o'clock. So we were there for a couple hours. But when people start coming,
man, you're making me hungry. I think we might have to stop the show now because I'm ready to eat.
Hey, when I tell you, when people start coming in, they saw me with the chef outfit. People were saying hello, and there was some people when we first started was sitting in front of us, and they would turn around and watching the show. So Matt and John actually had their cameras. So this was a big thing, right? This was a big thing, and the hospitality overall was amazing. The place gets packed all the time, and they have some really, really great people that goes along with the food. Now, of course, me tasting all of this as a chef, I had to taste it and make sure that it was good to go. And they had this. Oh, they also had this. I think it was a redfish. We had a redfish as well too with this carrot souffle. Man, oh my god.
You know what's interesting? It's so interesting how traveling is so important. Because you're talking about all this hospitality and all this great food, and people are so nice and say hi to you on the street. But if we're in Philadelphia, but if you were to try to do that around here, people are like, "What did you just say to me? Like, what is this?" And it's just the total opposite. So it's very interesting that you said that's a part of the culture.
I see why certain people move down to the South, New Orleans, Mississippi, Atlanta. People are just happy. And it goes along with that Southern hospitality of food. And there's a stamp that people put on that for a reason. And I'm big on that because I'm always a happy person. For me, I'm always a happy person. I love as far as being involved as far as with people and talking to people and things like that. So we went to New Orleans, and then we went to New Orleans first. I'm sorry, Neil's first in New Orleans. And then we went to this. Now, po' boys, of course, po' boy sandwiches are big. So we went to a place called Damalices. When we went there, we got set up. We went there, and as soon as we walk in, everybody turns around and looks at us because we got these cameras. And of course, we went to go and talk to the owner. The supervisor. And then the supervisor was notified, and we're just having a good time. Like, we're talking, it's a small place that only fits like maybe 15 people. It's one of those places where you go in and it looks like a house, but they made it out of a restaurant and a bar and the kitchen. And when I tell you that New Orleans actually has that as a staple for restaurants that they have, that was like a good experience, because I love the hole-in-wall places. Those places, the hole-in-wall places, just have the good food, man. I don't know what it is. I think it's just the ambiance, but I had a po' boy sandwich. It was the real po' boy sandwich, shrimp with the bread and lettuce. And I tell you, when I was there and I put the chef outfit on, everybody started looking at me and they was like, what are you guys doing? So we start telling them as far as we're doing a docu-series for culinary arts, the experience with me, Chef Rico, and then people just opened up. And there was people from Chicago that was there, people from LA, people that was from Miami, people that was there, and people come from all over. So I went there to, when I ate, John T. Free was able to go around the bar behind the bar, and he was able to film. And it was so cool because everybody's like, yes. And what we did was we filmed them. We showed love to all of them, man. And I tell you, I just got through eating at Neo's. Now I'm going to another place to go and eat again. So it's cool to be able to have free food. Don't get me wrong. I love free food, but to be able to experience this means a lot. So I got a chance to interview the owner as well too. And they told me exactly that's been there for 100 years. And it used to be a house. And it used to be, it's family owned. So Damalisis was awesome. Guess where we goes next? We're going next. We went down the street because this place called Hanson. Now, they don't call snow cones. You know how we have snow cones? And we call them snow cones here? Yeah. They call them snowballs out there.
Okay.
That's a East thing where we call them snow cones. South, they call them snowballs.
Man, now, I really want to be able to see this. So when is all of this coming out, Rico?
It's still being edited. So we got a lot of footage that we have to put together, but that's going to be coming out. It's definitely going to be coming out for sure. Man,
I'm excited because there's so much in there. Now it makes sense as to why no shade to Zion Williamson, but it makes sense as to why he is the way that he is, right? Struggling so hard to stay in the league because the food is so good down there. And like you said, I got to put that on my bucket list as places to go. Definitely in the world. So what is it that you hope that people will experience when they see your docuseries?
So one of the things is knowing that I appreciate, number one, food and culture, right? The objective of it is to be able to appreciate the culture that these restaurants are putting together for people to experience. And what I mean by the culture is the culture of the food, the culture as a staple for themselves. So my whole objective is to be able to let you know, hey, I'm going to be promoting New Orleans, but I'm going to actually, and we're coming back because we met some really great contacts. So that's going to be a part 2 of this as well too. So, and the pizza place, I got to tell you that, but the pizza place was awesome. Mr. Jim's Pizza, 5-minute pizza, and I was able to go in there and make pizza as well too. Man, I have to tell you, that's the whole thing about the docuseries, is being able to go to restaurants, cook alongside with them, but also give you a great taste of, no pun intended, give you a great taste of what New Orleans should be about.
That's beautiful. And, you're all about giving recognition to the people out there in New Orleans, but I want to give you some recognition as well. So if you guys don't know, Rico has his own cooking show as well, which is called Cooking with Rico. And here it is, everybody. I just want to play a little bit of what people can expect, because Rico does know how to throw it down. So just in case you're listening to that and you think, he don't know what he's talking about, let's take a quick look at one of the clips that Rico was able to put out on his show.
I appreciate it.
20 minutes.
Let me
see you back in 20.
Let's see what we're gonna see. What's this? What we got going? Boom! Yeah. What are we looking at, Rico? What is this?
Hey! You gotta watch the whole thing.
Look at that, yo! This is probably the hungriest I've ever been all weekly DoseOfDano TV. I'm starving right now. Damn, yo, that looks really freaking good.
Man, I cook so many different dishes, man. Yeah, the food is the bomb. Oh, man.
All right, so let's start to thicken our sauce. So we're going to put in...
Okay, look, you got the different camera angles. You got the quality. You got the food looking right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about right there. All right, mixing, getting it. Look at that. Look at that face. Yo, you are so locked in on that food right there. It's like you're transferring the flavor from your face into that food. Yo, I wish I could try something like that.
I'm serious about it.
You got to make that happen. But to everybody watching, go check Rico out on his other show as well, which is the Cooking with Rico show. And here it is for everybody if you want to go check it out. Go check it out. You got Guatemalan enchiladas, you got pad thai, chicken adobo, all that on there. So is this an extension of that, or is this just going to be a whole new another production that you're putting together?
No, so this is going to be an extension of this. So this is going to be part of the Cooking with Rico show. Yeah, so there's going to be a docu-series we're going to put out there for the Cooking with Rico show. Yes, sir.
That's beautiful, man. So Rico, we actually have to hear one more word from our sponsor of the episode.
Yes,
but we got Patty that says all of that looks so delicious, 100%. I think that's the
Escobar.
Chasseur?
Yes, chicken chasseur.
There it is. And then Lou is laughing because he's just having a good time. And thank you for being here on Weekly Dose of Dano TV. But we just have to hear one more word from our sponsor. And when we come back, we have to hear about one more great development that Rico has achieved recently. And that is what his new agreement or his new signing with Best Ever Channel. So everybody, don't go anywhere. We're going to hear a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back with some more great content on Weekly Dose of Dano TV.
Let's go.
What we do is very interactive, but very, very powerful because, look, I was an educator for 30 years. I don't believe in just academic education. The lack of character education, which is what we do, changes a culture, and it doesn't take 3 months or 3 years to do it.
We are the guys that come in that will teach these kids everything that they need in order to really be the best version of themselves and to get the skills to succeed in life, no matter what life throws at them. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, everybody, to my Positivity Posse for being here. And yes, you saw that. That was the Power of Choices with me and Mark Hoberman, where we go into schools, camps, organizations, and everywhere else to teach everybody about the power of mental resilience, substance prevention, anti-bullying, and many, many more great topics. And as you saw, Rico was actually in there as well because we were on his show and had.
I appreciate that, Papa.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Well, thank you for coming on again. And Rico, this is a big deal, what we're about to talk about. So let everybody know about your new agreement or your new signing with Best Ever Channels.
You know, Best Ever Channels, big shout out to Beatrice, of course, my agent. And, you know, this one is kind of dream come true when it comes to big streaming, because I had an interview or kind of an audition of understanding, you know, who I'm about to talk to. Right. And big shout out to Jonathan Barbato. He was former executive producer for Paramount Pictures. And he came to start doing, he developed his own streaming. And also because he has really big contacts and connections, he wanted to start his own streaming as well, too. And kind of that distribution. Right. So I had an audition to talk to him so he can understand as far as me and, you know, see my smiling face and see how I'm like, you know, ready for TV. And he actually said, you know, hey, I think you're meant for this. And for him to be able to say that once when I was talking to him, and I was nervous, it was only like 15, 20 minutes. I was super nervous because I didn't know who I was. You know, when you hear something like that, you're like, yo, you got to bring your A game, be yourself, but at the same time too, don't say nothing stupid, you know? And, you know, I want to make sure that I don't, you know, I don't do it. Right. And as soon as Beatrice came back and says, you know, hey, they want you to start as far as a trial. I said, okay, when is the trial starting? and they want to see how your show runs. So I had to send them multiple shows. So when I showed them multiple shows, they said, we're going to get back with you to see how it goes. I said, okay. So this was maybe in April. And then I sent them shows, and the trial started. So within that trial, they were showing this to big name people, big producers and viewers and people that they know. And I sent them maybe like 10 to 12 videos. So what they did was they were rotating those videos that I was actually having. And in May, the end of May, I did get feedback. So they said that out of the 10, 3 of them, they were very impressed on, that got over 2,000 viewers.
Okay.
Just on the trial. And the trial was only like maybe 3 to 4 weeks. And they said it was 3 of them that actually hit really big. So say now what they're going to do is they said, welcome. We're going to put you on prime time now. So June 13th, they put me on prime time, but for 2 days a week, which was in PST time, it was 6 p.m., which was prime time for them. So now my show is actually showing twice every week on prime time from 6 to 8. So we signed a deal, and it's public already. We signed a deal for 3 years. So 3-year deal. And of course, you know, that makes me very happy of all of the work and the supporters, you know, that's going on as well too. So thank you, Patty Escobar. I saw your comment. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. Congratulations, Rico. That's big time as well. And thank you, like you said, Patty, as well, for all of your kind words and your positive energy. But that goes back to what we were talking about earlier in the episode, man. It doesn't matter about what all these other people were doing or how they're getting there, if they're cheating or if they're scamming. All that stuff is not built to last. And if they're doing that, they're probably looking over their shoulder saying, oh, how long is this going to last? Who's going to come after me? XYZ, doesn't matter. But Rico, you're doing it the right way. You're doing it with integrity, a lot of love in the mix as well. So congratulations to you as well. That's big time.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man. That means a lot. That means a lot to me. And to being able to sign this deal, you know, that means a lot, because it's always connecting, you know, with people to be able to see my talent. And that's the whole objective, you know. There's a lot of work that we put into this, you know, going on 6 years this month, you know. So I'm super happy, you know, to be able to continue this journey, man, this great journey of being a talk show host, and also, you know, the Cooking with Rico show. It's just it's showing. Now this one is just for, you know, with it's best ever channels, but it's also a channel called more of you, or more you. And then that's where, you know, the actual sub channel is actually at. So, you know, yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah,
man.
it's beautiful. Well, congratulations again, man. And I know that you do have to run a little bit earlier than anticipated, but that's okay. So two things for you before you go. Number one, you said that you're about to hit your 6-year anniversary, which is huge. That's longer than most people have been in relationships, right? That's a big time. Are we looking forward to like a big, you know, special episode, or are you doing anything special for your 6 years?
Yeah, you know, I'm just having everybody tune in and celebrating with me, right? So hopefully you and the posse can tune in to the show, show some love. It's going to be on July 31st. It's a Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time. I think you're on Eastern, 8 p.m. your time. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I just want everybody to come on in and show some love, you know. And, you know, we got someone coming in from California that's going to be on the show that day, Patricia Carter. She's going to be coming in, and, you know, she's from Chicago, but she lives in LA. She's going to be talking about her book, but it's going to be good. It's going to be a good celebration, and it's going to be super, super awesome, man, to be able to celebrate 6 years.
That's beautiful, man. Well, I'll be there. You just let me know. Whatever I can do. If we got to bring the positivity posse and storm that event, that's what we're going to do. Storm it with love, appreciation, and positivity, as we always do. And Rico, man, you know, just tell everybody one more time, just as a close up, a little bit about yourself, where we can find your show.
Yes, sir.
What we can look forward to from you in the future.
Yes, sir. So, the Rico No Suave show, you can go to thericonosuaveshow.com. That's my website. YouTube, of course, we're building there. Speaking of YouTube, Rico No Suave show, and all platforms as well, to Instagram, Rico No Suave show. It's all across the board. Facebook, Rico No Suave show. So you can definitely find me there. And of course, best ever channels. If you want to know more information about that and my other streaming platforms, E360 as well too. I think you're on that as well. Oh, yeah. So it's I'm across all different platforms. So don't hesitate to reach out and say hello.
Beautiful. So everybody, that was Rico for today. And going forward, I hope you just reach out to him, go follow him, and go show him a lot of love. Great guy. We've worked together a few times already, and every single time that we connect, it's just always just love, great energy, positivity, and just a lot of laughter too, which I know
always, man.
Always that bright smiling face, man. We love it. We love it so much. So the show is not over just yet. So we're gonna hear one more word from our sponsor, and then we're gonna wrap up everything. Rico, take it easy, my man. I wish you the best of luck in everything, and I'm gonna be there along with you in your journey as well. So keep going strong, man. We appreciate you so much.
Everybody, thank you guys so much, man, and keep the positive vibes going. Ya tú sabes, mi gente. Your boy Rico No Suave. My man, always get that dose, that weekly dose of my man here, and keep doing your thing. I'll see you guys later. Darling.
We'll see you later. Stick around for our time with the Positivity Posse together, you and I, and we'll be right back after a word. Thank you again, Rico.
Takes a village about keeping our families together.
God bless this organization.
Everybody, thank you so much for being here. I know this setup was a little bit different than what we do usually or normally on Weekly Dose of Dano TV, but we had to bring Rico in very early on to hear about all of his great accomplishments. Big shout out to you again, Rico, as well. But now we got to spend our time together with me and the Positivity Posse, just letting you know about some of the things that have been going on in my life. And this is your time to let me know what has been going on in yours as well. Leave it in the comments because I really want to hear about some of the great things that are going on, or maybe not great things, right? To see how we can put a positive spin on everything, because that's what we do. And when we put a positive spin on everything, well, here's a little simple formula for you if you are having trouble with putting a positive spin on everything. And here it is. Positive meaning in, positive meaning out. Negative meaning in, negative meaning out. So if you are going through life or you're experiencing things that you don't prefer to happen to you, what is it that we are supposed to learn from these instances, from these scenarios, from these events? Everything is leading us towards our greatest and highest self. And it's not always about the lesson. Sorry, it's not always about the event that may be going on. It's about the lesson that we need to learn in order to elevate to that higher selves that we are called to be, right? Because we're not supposed to be in the same level of our lives just for the entire time, right? That could be a position at a job. That can be, with whatever your relationships with yourself, with your family, with your significant other. Everything is always supposed to be elevated. So what's that positive thing that we're supposed to learn so we can be the best version of ourselves? And I would love to hear that with you as well about what's going on. Right here, John T says, I think I got that same chair with a different print. That's what that means you got good taste, right? If you got the same chair, this is a chair that's only fit for kings. So John T, it's nice to know that you're sitting in your throne as well. Let's call them thrones from now on. Jeanette says positive vibes only. everything happens for our highest good. Believe that. And yes, like even if something is for me, this happened to me recently, this week. I was playing basketball. I was giving these boys the work. And actually, I was just walking up the court and, I tweaked my knee, right? So right now, if I were to stand up, you would see that I'm inside of a brace right now. And, I've been having just a little bit of trouble walking, which I got to go, to the doctors tomorrow to see what's going on with it. But there is a lesson in this as well. And even though I may not see what that reason is right away, you best believe, and I best believe that I know that this is meant to happen for my greatest and highest good. So it can be something as simple as, getting injured, or something as getting a flat tire, or, your car declines, or whatever it is that is happening to you in your life. Understand that it's there to serve you for your greatest and highest good, 100%. John says, yes, sir. I love that, right? That's what LeBron does, it because he has the crown. We need our own crowns, John. So we got to come together and design some crowns to see what we can do, because we are kings and queens all ruling this earth, and we are the rulers of what goes on in our lives and how we assign that value of what goes on and what happens in our lives. So yeah, like I said, it's been something that's been interesting. I think the lesson for me to really harp on, or not really harp on, but to really put at the forefront of my mind and why this has happened, is because I need to give a little bit more appreciation for the good times and the good health that I do have, right? Because this, thankfully and fortunately, health is really not an issue for me. Like, I'm very, in great shape, and I take care of myself and I eat well. And I guess I wasn't really putting that at the forefront of my intention, or that when people call themselves rich and wealthy, you can be rich and wealthy in more than monetary ways, right? And I know for me, health is a big thing. So I guess that since this happened, it's just given me that much more appreciation of the good things that I do have happened to me in my life, and that I'm not in and out of the hospital. And that when you are in there, you can hear about all of the things that people are actually going through. And if I were to tell you guys about some of the things that I've heard while sitting, in the urgent care in the hospital, I'm like, damn, I really do have it so much better than what I think. And yes, I may not be exactly where I want to be in life, because I know that I'm just destined for greatness. And I don't say that in a cocky way, but I know that everything and all the dreams that I do want to live, I will experience them. So right now, I just have to give appreciation and, love to myself along the way to be able to get those, right? And it's these things that happen to us that help us ground us, but also take appreciation. So when those things that do happen, when we do start to live our lifestyle that we want to live, and our dreams play out and turn into reality, well, then we will have that much more appreciation for it, because we're like, damn, I remember back in the day when we first started Weekly DoseOfDano, we didn't have anybody watching, and we didn't have any viewers, and, it didn't have this format. But now when we look at everything, we're like, wow, 80,000 strong. We have the Positivity Posse that you guys are just, popping it and lighting it up inside of the comments. That's when we can start to really saturate and really feel the appreciation of everything that happens to us in our lives. We have Charles Leonis here. This guy, I got to tell you about Charles, man. He's going to come on to the show, but when I tell you Charles, his smile, and when I met him in person, he stood out like a sore thumb. He was a needle in the haystack. I'm excited to get Charles onto this show, but he says, the best moments of my life followed by the worst or scariest moments just before. Yes, 100%. And isn't it funny and interesting how that always happens, where it'll seem like things are falling apart, but that is when things are start to really happen for you in the best way, right? And think about the sun. I know that the scenario that I'm getting right now is, when it's storming and it's raining the hardest, after that storm and rain is gone, that's when the sun shines the brightest, right? And you see the rainbows, and you see all of the great things that happen because of that rain. And all of that is serving us for our greatest and highest good. So thank you, Charles, for commenting that. The multi-millions are yours. Spend them wisely. It's not just mine, it's ours, right? Because if that's the life that we want to live, we will achieve those desired outcomes no matter what happens in our lives. John C says, true, 1,000%. Thinks about the need. Lou says right here, hope it goes well. It will go well, because that's what we are assigning and calling into our lives. And it has no other way but to transpire in that same way as well. So everybody, thank you so much for being here today. live or on the replay on Weekly Dose of Dano TV. I'm just so excited, and this is my favorite time of the week for you guys, for myself too, because I learned so much, as you heard from Rico earlier, all the great things that are going on in his lives. As your comments as well, I get to hear about all the great things that are happening in the Positivity Posse's lives as well. But when we all come together, it's just pouring more into ourselves and into the universe and into each other, because this is what we need now more than ever. And I know I don't like to talk about politics or, the negative things that are going on in the world. But as you saw, with the former president getting shot at, and you just have all of these divisive things that have been happening in the world, it's really important that we all come together to show that we are more alike in several ways than we are different. And when we start to look at life and look at our relationships as what we can do to serve other people and how we can really invest into ourselves, then you'll see the positive fruits of our labors happen, because we're putting the positive intentions into each other and out into the universe as well. Luce says, great show as always. Thank you so much for showing up every single week. Jeanette, to you as well. Great show. Thank you for the golden nuggets. Thank you for your energy and your positive wishes and just all the great things that you guys provide, because it wouldn't be possible without each and every one of you on my Positivity Posse as well. Patty, I love your positive energy. Just keep putting that out into the universe. Yes, 100%. We're going to still keep on going strong and still put out the positive energy for ourselves and for each other as well, because when we all come together, you already know all the great things that can happen when we start to do that. So next week, we have Misty Lee coming on to this show as well to talk about the power of writing. And it's going to be a really phenomenal show, because we've worked together before in the past, but just to hear more about her situation and to hear about all the golden nuggets that she has to offer to all the Positivity Posse, it's just always a great time. And I appreciate every single one of you so much. So everybody, that was this week's episode. I appreciate you for being here, and have a great, safe weekend. And I'll see you next week for another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV. Peace, everybody.